Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here. Look, if you've ever been told that your mind is, well, just too scattered, that your habits are kind of weird, or you're sitting on just way too many unfinished hobbies, get ready to feel incredibly validated. Because today, we're going to reveal how those seemingly chaotic, totally misunderstood behaviors, yeah, they aren't flaws at all. In fact, they're actually your ultimate competitive advantage for mastering really complex modern systems. We're going to completely decode the deep psychology behind how you're wired and show you exactly how to unleash it. Let's get into it. So here's our quick roadmap. First, we'll cover the traits of a sharp mind. Second, we'll look at the social habits of deep thinkers. Third, we're diving into the M-shaped mind advantage. Fourth, AI mastery and systems in action, where we'll actually bridge your deep psychological wiring directly to a highly technical AI workflow. And finally, number 5, we'll wrap up with the true cost of intelligence. Okay, let's dive right into section 1, traits of a sharp mind, validating the misunderstood. Have you ever felt judged by a world that just seems to reward loudness and speed over actual depth? There's this huge gap between societal assumptions and psychological reality. Take a messy workspace, for example. Society literally labels it as pure chaos, but to a sharp mind, that disorder is actually a highly flexible system for creative mapping and pattern building. You're not wasting your mental energy on visual perfection. You're focused on problem solving. Or think about a preference for winter. Society often codes winter as isolating, maybe even depressing. But biologically speaking, a sharp mind reaches sensory overload a lot faster than others. Winter naturally turns down the volume, right? It provides this low-noise environment where your thinking sharpens and your inner world can just stabilize. You're not choosing darkness, you're choosing cognitive clarity. Let's look at a few more of these hidden signs. Solitude, for instance, isn't about disliking people. It's actually the state where your reflection and imagination truly flourish. And here's a totally fascinating one, an affinity for cats. Believe it or not, psychology shows that loving cats reflects deep emotional attunement and what's called boundary intelligence. You intuitively get that affection has to be invited, not just demanded. Unlike, say, a golden retriever who just really wants your sandwich. Then there's cognitive inhibition. That is that crucial split-second pause before you react to something. While everyone else is operating on these automatic emotional reflexes, you're using that pause to let your reasoning brain override the impulse. Plus, you're constantly practicing metacognition, questioning your own assumptions, basically thinking about your thinking. Moving right along to section 2, social habits of deep thinkers, the psychology of withdrawal. Let's look at how these internal traits manifest in your external world. Deep thinkers often curate really selective social lives, which society loves to just write off as antisocial. But actually, these behaviors are deeply self-aware mechanisms for energy protection. Having a blank profile picture, that's not about hiding. It's about identity control and long-term privacy in a digital world that's constantly demanding you perform. What about never hosting guests? To a deep thinker, your home is psychological territory. Having people over isn't just a casual visit. It's a massive drain on your mental energy because your safe space suddenly becomes a stage. Ignoring sports? That just means your identity is sourced internally through your own values, not externally through the shared dopamine of a massive crowd. And hey, if you quietly stop reaching out to people, you aren't being petty. Your brain is literally just neurologically correcting an effort imbalance to protect your emotional energy. All right, section 3, building the M-shaped mind and why it's a competitive advantage. So, I want you to ask yourself a question right now. Why do you have a graveyard of half-finished hobbies sitting in your room? You know what I'm talking about. The guitar, gathering dust in the corner, that coding course you abandoned, the design tools you played with for exactly 1 week. You probably carry a lot of shame about that, feeling like you're just too scattered. But I'm here to completely reframe that shame into your absolute greatest biological strength. See, your brain is constantly collecting data points from totally different domains to achieve something psychologists call far transfer. This is when you take a concept from one completely unrelated field, say psychology, and apply it to another, like leadership or system design. We don't live in a kind environment anymore where the rules stay nice and stable. We live in a wicked environment where technology literally rewrites entire industries overnight. And a wicked environment actively, aggressively rewards this exact type of mental cross-pollination. This completely redefines the geometry of your potential. Think about it. Most people are taught to be T-shaped specialists, basically digging one hole a mile deep. But the problem is, if the industry shifts, that one single skill becomes a trap. They're incredibly fragile. But you have an M-shaped mind. Those abandoned hobbies are not failures. They are multiple pillars of depth, all connected by this brilliant bridge of curiosity. In evolutionary biology, this is called redundancy. If one path fails, you've got backups. Your seemingly chaotic interests actually make you highly adaptable and practically unbreakable in a rapidly changing world. Now for Section 4, AI Mastery and Systems in Action. And this brilliantly illustrates how we can use this M-shaped advantage in the real world. Let's look at a literal exercise in FAR transfer by applying it to something highly technical, mastering an AI video workflow. We're going to combine storytelling, visual design, and tech automation all into one powerful system. Here's the workflow. Step 1, we use ChatGPT to act as a professional animator to write our story in visual prompts. Step 2, we use an extension called AutoWhisk to generate the images in bulk. Step 3, we take those images into Grok for cinematic animation. And Step 4, we assemble the whole shebang in CapCut. Let's break down exactly how this solves some of the biggest headaches in AI right now. Okay, so the absolute biggest nightmare in AI generation is character inconsistency, right? Faces constantly changing in every single shot. Well, here is your M-shaped systems thinking at work. First, you ask ChatGPT for 20 sequential prompts. Then, you use the AutoWhisk Chrome extension, specifically version 7.6.0, for batch generation. But the real magic happens when you upload reference images of your main characters, like a boy and a fox, directly into AutoWhisk. By applying the exact character names used in your text prompts, the AI forces 100% facial consistency across all 20 images automatically. It's literally flawless execution. Next up, we generate a voiceover using Google AI Studio's Gemini. Now, to animate your beautifully consistent images in Grok, you have to disable automatic video generation in the settings so you maintain complete control. And if you want to save massive amounts of time, run 4 or 5 Grok tabs simultaneously. Finally, here is a totally game-changing sound design secret that like 99% of creators completely miss. When you bring those Grok videos into CapCut, do not delete the AI-generated native audio. Instead, extract it and drop the volume down to -25 decibels. This creates a deeply cinematic, natural background ambience that doesn't overpower your voiceover. That, my friends, is FAR transfer in action. And finally, Section 5, the true cost of intelligence, also known as the heavy crown. Let's just slow the pace back down for a second. We've talked about the brilliance, the systems, the incredible adaptability, but we have to acknowledge that running this kind of advanced, M-shaped operating system, it takes a very real, very heavy emotional toll. High intelligence doesn't always look like confidence. Oftentimes, it just looks like exhaustion. You probably struggle with chronic overthinking because your brain is just constantly simulating multiple variables and outcomes. You might feel totally out of sync with peers who just love shallow small talk, while you're craving real depth. You've got an extreme sensitivity to broken systems and inconsistencies that everyone else just seems to happily ignore. And ironically, you experience crushing self-doubt. Less intelligent people are often blindly confident, but your intellectual humility means you see all the hidden variables you don't know yet. And ultimately, this creates a really profound mental loneliness. It's that feeling of living inside a complex mind that no one else can fully enter. But if you've been carrying around the weight of feeling totally misunderstood, I really want you to let this sink in. You were never meant to be one thing. You were meant to be the bridge between worlds. Your scattered hobbies? That's your training. Your need for quiet? That's your clarity. Your intense overthinking is literally the engine of your innovation. You are perfectly wired for a really complex future. So the final question I want to leave you with today is this. Now that you know exactly how powerful your M-shaped mind truly is, what distinct, totally unrelated worlds are you going to bridge together next?